30 National Resophonic guitar made in Los Angeles, California. And it's a Style O, and it's the exact model that Mark Knopfler plays, only ours is 7 years older than his. And actually his is a 14 fret, ours is a 12 fret, meaning the 12th fret is where it joins the body of the guitar. And it's a single resonator. And well, when we got over here on this tour, Jenny and I hadn't been this early to England. We always came in like June, and we got here at the end of April, and it was chilly. And we didn't have proper wardrobe for that. And so we just looked at the back of the guitar and it warmed us up. There you go.
It's awfully nice. So you're going to get to hear Billy play that guitar, and I'll play this little mandolin, which Mr. Gibson made back in 1916. So next year will be his 100th birthday. We'll go on a 100th birthday tour.
There you go.
The mandolin.
Yeah.
Well, remember how I was having those theological discussions with my great-grandmother about heaven? Well, there's a good reason for that, because you see, during the school year when I lived with my parents, we went to Scottish Presbyterian Church. And at Scottish Presbyterian Church, they do a real nice thing for you. When you go in and go to the service, they give you something called the bulletin. And in it, it tells you all the prayers you're going to pray and all the songs you're going to sing. And that way, there's no surprises, you see. But in the summers, when I went to church with my great-grandmothers and my grandmother, well, we went to Pentecostal Holiness Church, and there was nothing but surprises at that church. And the thing that impressed me the most was that they talked about heaven, and they did not mean heaven coming very soon, and they did not mean that in a metaphorical way. They meant like tomorrow. And I thought as long as heaven was coming tomorrow, I would really like to know more about what to expect. And so that's how I once again ended up asking my great-grandmother, what will heaven be like? And she said, oh, honey, heaven is like a great big family reunion. And I thought, oh, that's awful. Because at the family reunion every summer, there would be like 200 of them and just one of me. And see, I had to sort out all their names and how I was related to them. And I was forever always calling my Aunt Irene Charlene and vice versa and things like that. So I felt perpetually embarrassed the entire time that the reunion was happening, because I was getting everybody's name wrong and how they were related to me. And the other thing was that for the reunion, I always had to wear a brand new scratchy dress and brand new scratchy tights and brand new patent leather shoes that cut into my heel. So I was itchy and uncomfortable and overwhelmed with people. And then the last thing is that my grandmother and her sisters, and she had 7 of them, were competing on a thing every year, which we call a jello. It's like a mountain of wobbly, clear substance in a shape like a mountain, you know, but with like ridges and designs all around it, made in a mold. And it's in all different colors of the rainbow. And the trick was to see what foods they could get to suspend inside of it in an artful manner, you see. And so they competed on this. And the problem was that I hated Jell-O. But since there was competition was so fierce, there was almost nothing else to eat at the reunion but Jell-O. You know, most reunions would have things like pies and rolls and baked beans. But we were so into the Jell-O competition that that was not true of ours. And you can go in there and rake that food that's floating inside of it out. But unfortunately, all the Jell-O is just stuck to it. And so you can't get away from it. And so at the reunion, I was hungry. I was itchy and scratchy. And I was overwhelmed with people. And I thought, you know, I don't want to spend eternity this way. And so that's when I bravely asked her if heaven could be more like a picnic. And she said, well, yes, honey, like a picnic, because I was thinking informal on the ground, and you get to wear a soft sundress and eat something like potato salad, something you could eat for eternity. And then I said, but in the sky. And she said, yes, honey, a picnic in the sky. And so whenever anybody in the church passed away, or anybody in our family, from then on I would say, Mama, they've gone on up to that picnic in the sky. And she'd say, indeed they have, honey, indeed they have. Now, the other thing that might be fun for you to know, I'm just getting you ready here, is that in the song, there's a line that says, and a voice said, these are the days of our lives. And he did every week, Monday through Friday, because Days of Our Lives was a daytime soap opera, like EastEnders or Coronation Street, but its own thing, you know, set in California. And the thing is that we had to watch Days of Our Lives every week with my great-grandmother because she was getting older and would take a nap during the program, and we were supposed to sit there and keep track of the plot for her and tell her what she missed while she was napping. Now, I have to say this was not an easy challenge for small children, you see, because people come back from the dead in these programs, don't they? And you have twin sisters that you never knew about. And the hardest part was when somebody, they decide they wanted to, like, we all know Colin, right? And he's always looked like Colin, and he's always played the part of Colin. But at Days of Our Lives, they decide, well, we need a new actor for Colin, because maybe Colin was asking for too much money in this show, you know? And so what they do is have him be in a terrible accident, and they take him into the hospital and wrap him up in all white tape, and then they'd unwrap him and he'd look like Pete. Except we were still supposed to call him Colin and act like he had all of Colin's past attached to him, and that was tremendously confusing for a 7-year-old. But luckily my great-grandmother didn't have good eyesight, so she didn't realize that Marlena was not the same Marlena anymore. And after we watched the Days of Our Lives, we go into the kitchen and we eat a pineapple and cottage cheese salad, and we listen to the obituaries on the radio. Now, I have to tell you, so other people in America don't get worried, that this is not a common American practice. This is practiced solely on the planet of Jewel Ridge, and that's because everybody lived up in the mountains, you see. And the funeral home was all down in town, not far from the Chevy dealership where Uncle Roy got his pink Chevy. And so if you wanted to go to a viewing, which is a terrible thing, where they lay you out and they put a purple light on you before they decide to close the coffin, awful. Don't ever get under a purple light when you're dead. It doesn't make anybody look good. But so, you know, if we wanted to go to the viewing, then we'd need advance notice, so we get in the middle of the day and we could curl our hair and choose our best dress and go down to the funeral home by the evening. And the funeral home took pity on me, I think, because I was a child going to just ever so many viewings. And so it was a bit like Girl Guides. Eventually they gave me my own funeral home tote bag as sort of a reward for all the funerals that I had attended, which is a strange object to possess, but I still have it, and actually. So, so this song is called Picnic in the Sky.
While I braided sister's hair.
me.